I must say, before we move on any further, a huge thank you to the wonderful people of Super 6 who have partnered with us for the entire season. Super 6 is a fantastic game. It will not cost you a penny, and you get to test your football knowledge. If you predict 6 scores correctly, you will win £250,000. It's as simple as that. Doesn't cost you a penny. Predict 6 scores correctly, win £250,000. All you need to do is download the Super 6 app and join our mini league. The code is CLUB23.
Absolutely beautiful. Let's move on to the most iconic Champions League moments. Obviously, we can rank these at the end of the video. I'm just going to throw one out there, and this is one that I don't talk about a lot with you, because obviously we banter each other about when you beat us in Porto and all that for Chelsea.
Oh, what, when Aguero cried?
Yeah.
Is that the one
I was going to go nice with you, and now you're slagging me off.
Is that the one you
yeah.
Aguero crying?
Yeah. Why don't you just say the one where Havertz scored? You don't bring that up,
I thought you meant where Aguero cried.
But what I was going to say is, the first thing that came to mind was the Munich result for Chelsea. A Chelsea side at the back end of its golden generation, an old Ashley Cole, an old Lampard and Drogba, Czech. And I remember sitting there with a few mates, and we were just watching it thinking, you're going to get absolutely smashed. And we were sat there in the room, and you couldn't have heard a pin drop, because the way you got back in it, especially after being 1-0 down, was absolutely incredible. And it goes right up there for me with Liverpool. It goes up there with me for maybe the Zidane volley, in terms of how iconic it is.
Do you know what's quite refreshing about this? I agree. I completely agree. But weirdly, I don't feel like what Chelsea achieved in 2012 necessarily gets the prestigious respect that it deserves.
Yeah.
Like, we went to Munich to play in the Allianz. It's playing Munich in Munich, playing Munich at home.
Golden generation.
Yeah,
A year later, they won the treble, didn't they? The year later,
exactly. Without our captain,
yeah,
like John Terry.
Who was missing? The left back was missing. Left winger.
We were threadbare.
Yeah,
Raul Meireles, who was central midfield for us that year, he was out. We had so many injuries. Yeah. Terry was suspended. Like, David Luiz had to basically play on one leg. Yeah. He was so injured. Jose Bosingwa ended up playing brilliantly. I mean, man of the match, undoubtedly, was John Obi Mikel.
Yeah.
It was a performance like you would never...
What was he doing in particular? Shielding the back?
He was amazing. He was so good. Yeah. Looking after the ball. Yeah. Every single time he got the ball, he just looked after it so well, protected it with his life as if it were a newborn baby. Really did look after it. Was so confident as well. And it was a team of lions. Like, genuinely, it was a team of lions. Like, when we took the penalties, obviously we were up against it because Juan Mata missed early at the other end. So we're Chelsea fans at this end. Penalties are at the other end. Juan Mata misses. Neuer saves it. All gone wrong. Lampard steps up. Pressure. Noise deafening. Wallop top corner. David Luiz steps up, which is why I will always love David Luiz. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't enjoy his time at Arsenal. I didn't enjoy him knocking us out of the European Cup with Paris Saint-Germain when he scored a header at Stamford Bridge. But, mate, what he did that day, he stepped up and he rocketed it. When he hits it with delight, it looks like he's lacing it, but it's side foot. Like, so powerful. And, like, charged to the Munich fans, really gave it to them. Like, really, yeah. And you've got to remember that we went 1-0 down on the 83rd minute.
Yeah, Muller, wasn't it?
83rd minute. So it was an unbelievable team of lions. We used to sing that about Ryan Bertrand to Bob Marley. We used to give it that, Ryan, like a lion in Bayern. But that was definitely up there, and it was refreshing to hear it from you. Do you know, weirdly, I'm going to return the favour for you. I think the best performance I've ever seen from an English team in Europe is a 45... Can I actually change what I've said there? I'm going to reduce it to a 45-minute period. The period in the first half against Real Madrid at the Etihad last season.
Yeah, that was the highest standard of any English side in the history of the competition, in that period of the game.
You were playing the reigning champions. Yeah. You were playing Carlo Ancelotti, serial European Cup winner. You were playing against the professionals. You're the pretenders. Yeah. They're the professionals.
And they'd beaten us the season before and shown a lot of fight to do that.
And shown you how it was done. You thought you were winning. Grealish had one cleared off the line. Suddenly you're out. You thought he was scoring for fun. You're out.
Yeah.
That performance, I don't think any English club in the Champions League era, maybe somebody might tell me what Villa or Forest or Liverpool, whatever, got up to. But in the Champions League era, no 45-minute period is like that period. Yeah. So I think that your that performance on the way to winning it is up there in this
It's a
conversation.
shame it wasn't the final almost because Inter Milan was a little bit more subdued. But I back you 1,000,000%.
In terms of, there are other games that kind of stand out. Do you know what's quite funny here? I can always remember things against rivals when I like Gabriel Batistuta and John Carew. Any Arsenal fan watching this now knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? They know exactly where I'm going with this. Gabriel Batistuta and John Carew. John Carew was Norwegian, Scandinavian, playing for Valencia. Arsenal were about to go through. Arsenal were going to, and Carew scores. Gabriel Batistuta. Arsenal used to play their Champions League games at the old Wembley, Twin Towers Wembley. Gabriel Batistuta scored. Like, I can remember those moments will always be iconic for me because it was against rivals. Any other? Do you know what I love as well? It's changed a bit, but do you know what I used to love? Tottenham fans will always tell you about Gareth Bale at the San Siro. Gareth Bale into Milan. Gareth Bale, Maicon. Gareth Bale scoring a hat-trick. And they got beat. In that game, you know, like their biggest night in Europe. Nobody talked. They got beat.
Yeah,
they got beat 4-3.
Yeah.
So those, off the top of my head, those are very like iconic Champions League games. Obviously, a homage to Liverpool in Istanbul.
Yeah, Liverpool in Istanbul, the comeback, even the Liverpool result against Barcelona.
Liverpool, Barcelona.
The Trent corner.
When Henderson scored early.
Henderson, Origi scored that goal.
Mate, that's up there, you know.
And Barcelona...
Didn't Messi miss a chance at the end? No, who was it who went through? Somebody went through at the end. Somebody went through at the end of the game in the Nou Camp to score the fourth. Was it Dembele?
Yeah, I think it was Dembele.
It's Dembele. And he did something stupid.
Yeah.
So the game ended 3-0.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was an amazing 4-0 win.
100%.
That's up there, you know.
Yeah.
Manchester United in Barcelona.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about that. Adam's not here. I actually prefer the result against Barcelona at Wembley. So I think that was the highest standard of football I've ever seen. Ever. The way they controlled the game. Man United didn't have a touch. It felt like they didn't have a touch for 20-minute spells. And to be fair to them, Rooney getting that goal, and I was really glad Rooney scored on some level because he didn't really have a good record in the Champions League sort of later stages. And then, of course, he scores that great goal. But apart from that, I mean, the David Villa's goal was amazing. Lionel Messi strike. I think it was the best club side we've ever seen in world football ever.
Yeah. Do you know a Champions League team that I loved? I was obviously young and I've had to kind of read about the team. But you know the Ajax team? The Ajax team that won it in 95.
Seedorf and all that. Van der Sar.
Yeah, Patrick Kluivert scored the winner.
De Boer was in?
Yeah, both De Boers.
Yeah.
Both De Boers, Van der Sar, Aaron Winter in the midfield. Dennis Bergkamp was part of it. Jari Litmanen. Do you remember Jari Litmanen? Yeah,
of course, yeah.
Who ended up at Liverpool. It was Nwankwo Kanu. Nwankwo Kanu was in it. An amazing team. But I've read about this, and it's a fascinating story. The following season, so they won it in 95, that Ajax team, all through the Dutch, you know, it's like the Dutch national team as well. Mark Overmars. Yeah. It was amazing. Wim Jonk. The following season got to the Champions League final again, and they played Juventus. It was like Juventus' record. They've been to so many finals, Juve, and have lost. But they won this one. Just before Vialli and Ravanelli, their centre forwards, left and came to the Premier League. But Mark Overmars speaking about this final is fascinating, mate. You'd love it, honestly. He talks really candidly. I mean, Overmars goes, I knew we were better than them. We're playing Juve. We were the holders of the European Cup. We were going to retain it. We were going to do it. And we knew that we were better than them. We just couldn't run like them. We just couldn't. It was Antonio Conte, I think Nedved. It was that team.
Physicality.
Just couldn't run. It's that Juventus era. An issue. That Juventus era. You might ask why they were running so much. Yeah. And so the game finished 1-1, went to extra time. And Overmars was like, I don't know what's going on here, man. They're not tiring. But it's a great story. That will always kind of like...
That's beautiful.
Pique my interest.
Yeah,
that was a great team, that, Overmars.
You want to see Ajax doing well in the Champions League. That great lineage.
Great club.
Let's run through the fixtures in the Champions League. Man United versus Galatasaray, Lyon versus Arsenal, Napoli versus Real Madrid, Newcastle versus PSG. Wow. Leipzig versus Man City, and Celtic versus Lazio. Genuinely, the only one that ironically is a Europa League looking clash is Lyon versus Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? The others look huge. Even Celtic Lazio is juicy.
Yeah, Celtic Lazio would be
PSG. Great. Saudi Arabia versus Qatar, if you will.
It is?
Yeah. Is that a derby? I don't know.
It's a derby.
Guess it is a derby.
It's like a derby in the
oil
way that Palace and Brighton are. And obviously we're going to be live on Wednesday night, aren't we?
Newcastle PSG.
Can't wait.
I was hoping they'd lose to AC Milan just for the banter on Twitter. I think they're going to get smashed by Luis Enrique's lads from Paris.
But remember, if you think that you can predict those games correctly, if you can predict the scoreline of those games that Buvey just read out, Manchester United versus Galatasaray, for example, all you need to do is download the Super 6 app. And if you do, and predict those scores correctly, you will win £250,000 and it will not cost you a penny. So make sure that you join our club. The code is CLUB23. And if you win our league every single week, you could end up with £100 to spend at Classic Football Shirts. Thank you so much to the wonderful people of Super 6 for partnering with us for this season. We are honoured that you have chosen us. There are some big Premier League clashes this weekend, and you could also win £250,000 on the weekend.
That's what I was going to say. I love the fact that Super 6 give you the opportunity midweek and at the end of the week to get some big money in, lads. Let's talk about Man United versus Brentford, Burnley versus Chelsea, Everton versus Bournemouth, Palace versus Forest, Brighton versus Liverpool, and the big one we'll be covering on the club, Arsenal versus Man City.
I'm going to give a spoiler here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, really, I'm competing against you because, I want to win our league. But I will tell you one of my scores. Will you do the same?
Yeah, go on.
I will be going for Manchester United 1, Brentford 1. I'm going for a score draw there.
I'll do Man United 1, Brentford 4.
That is the only thing I'm giving you, though. I can't have you stealing my scores.
Yeah, fair enough.